Lagi ba ng Zoom room? Cellphone mo, pati access internet, di ba?
Good morning, everyone. a short while, we'll be moving on with our talk for today. But in the meantime, let me just remind you of our house rules for those who are going to participate in today's activity. Number one, we would like to remind you that unless you are told to do so, please mute your microphone and video while the program is running. Number two, please listen and participate. Again, please listen and participate. This webinar is for all of us. Number three, and this is actually very important, for easy identification, please log in or change your profile name in our Zoom following the following format. Participants from ISAT University Iloilo City Campus, kindly indicate your college first, then your complete name or complete name of the parent or guardian. For example, if you're coming from the College of Arts and Sciences, you key in CAS, then the name of the parent or the guardian. Now, if you're coming from ESATU external campuses, please key in the campus concerned, then the complete name of the parent or guardian. For example, DG, which stands for Dumangas Campus, DG 1 de la Cruz. And as you can see in our screen, the following are the abbreviations of our campuses: DG for Dumangas, LC for Miagao Campus, and BNC for Barotac Nuevo Campus. Now, for today, we all know that parenting is already hard. This pandemic made it even harder with a new set of challenges, both for parents and adolescents, and even the youth. That's why today we are going to talk about it and discuss how we could all handle it the best way possible. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fourth installment of our webinar on empowering oneself toward embracing the new normal. And this time we'll be talking about parenting adolescents in times of pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all start. We would like to call on Dr. Griselda G. Bermejo, member of our God TWG, for our prayer.
Okay. Dear loving and heavenly Lord, we come unto thy presence this very moment, for we want to praise and thank you for all you have done unto us. Thank you for the gift of life, provision of our needs, comfort, and protection. Today, Father, we commit unto you our activity. Please guide everyone who have significant roles to play, the speakers, the participants, and the organizers. Help us, Lord, to embrace what the new normal has brought us, knowing that you will not leave us nor forsake us. Grant us the faith like of Joseph and courage like of Esther, as we travail this new chapter of our human existence. Forgive us, Lord, of our shortcomings, and may your name be praised. This is our prayer in the mighty name of Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much. Again, we would like to welcome everybody to our activity for today. The title of our activity is Parenting Adolescents in Times of a Pandemic. For the opening message, ladies and gentlemen, let's call our University President, Dr. Raul F. Muyo. Sir?
Thank you, Sir Heinz. Good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome our Regional Director of the Commission on Higher Education Region 6, Dr. Maura Consolacion de Cristobal. And thank you very much, ma'am, for your continuing support to our advocacies here at ISATU. Thank you very much for helping us in all our programs, projects, and activities. Also, I would like to greet our key officials, the vice presidents, the campus administrators, the deans, directors, and the faculty and staff who are joining us today in this webinar. And I would like also to congratulate and commend the Miss Emily de la Cruz, the focal person of this university, for initiating this activity. This is the fourth series of our webinar on empowering oneself towards embracing the new normal. And as promised, we will continue doing this because we care for our students, we care for our parents, we care for every stakeholders of this university. So I believe we have a lot of participants in this webinar. This is 200, there are 235 now in our Zoom, and this webinar is also streamed live via the ISATU PIO Facebook. Also, I would like to welcome our guest lecturer, Professor Ms. Sarah Jen Pagkangarangan of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, who will be talking and discussing to us parenting in times of pandemic. This is a very important activity because we believe many of us or all of us are really struggling in this new normal. As we started the classes with the new modalities, everybody is really very, of course, we have encountered a lot of struggles, but the struggles will be over unless, if we are all prepared for this. So, my dear students, parents, please take time to attend this lecture. If you have some questions later on, please don't hesitate to ask our lecturer because this lecture is made for all of us. Again, welcome and God bless us all. Thank you.
Once again, our University President, Dr. Raul F. Muyong. Now, before we proceed further, we just would like to reiterate that our activity for today, our webinar, is actually streamed live in our ISAT University PIO. And later on, it's also going to be streamed at the same time sa ato niyang YouTube channel. Thank you. At this point, we would like to request Dr. Maura Consolacion D. Cristobal, the director of our CHED Regional Office 6, for her message. Good morning, ma'am.
A pleasant morning to all. Good morning nga pala, maayong aga. I'm also in another meeting kaya na-distract ako. Allow me to screen share. Thank you for, please allow me to screen share.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
I'll be very fast. I just can't help but come up with, wait. So we have here the parenting of adolescents in times of COVID-19 pandemic. So I would like to thank the President, Dr. Muyong, for this invitation to share mga thoughts po natin in times of pandemic, how parenting should be done our students. Of all times, ngayon lalong kailangan pong ating mga magulang. So we are more familiar with this verse, children, obey your parents, the Lord, because this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with the promise that it may go well with you, that you may have a long life. This is the message for all children, that you have to honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. It may go well with you and that you may have a long life. Sa ating pong mga lodi, idol, inspiration, ligi ng tahanan, ilaw ng tahanan, lakas ng kabataan, kapag-alaga, gagising, galuto, galaba, at lahat po ng taga sa ating mga magulang. So, ang mensahe pong ito ay para actually sa inyo. Lagi po natin nakakalimutan, meron po tayong, may kadugtong po yung verse na yan, Ephesians 6:1-3, meron po siyang verse 4. Sabi po dito, at kayong mga ama o mga magulang, huwag niyong ipamungkahi sa galit ang inyong mga anak, kundi inyong turuan sila ayon sa saway at aral ng Panginoon. Sa Region 6 po, nung ako ay na-assign sa Region 6, aking natanto na napakataas na ating suicide rates, napakataas ng ating cases ng mental health problems. At ano po ang dahilan dito? Alam naman po natin, ang karamihan ng dahilan dito ay patong-patong na problema ng ating mga kabataan. Patong-patong na problema sa pamilya, patong-patong na problema sa love life, hindi marunong mag-handle ng kahit konting problema. Ano po ba? Minsan lang po ang kulang lang ng kabataan natin, kulang lang sila ng yakap o kulang lang sila ng halik. Ang tanong ko po sa mga magulang ngayon, kailan niyo po huling yakap, halikan ang inyong anak? At ang itatanong ko pong isa, kailan po kayong huling nagpa-sorry sa inyong mga anak sa mga bagay na nagawa niyong hindi tama? Kailan po kaya yon? Ngayon pong pandemic, marami kayong mga pagkakataon na kasama ang inyong mga anak. Meron na po ba tayong house rules na naset? Sabi nga po, ang pagiging magulang, wala talagang rules na clear-cut na lahat, walang template na yung para kay 1 ay applicable kay 1 na. Pero isa pong maganda na kailangan nating isaayos sa ating mga pamamahay, yung pag-set ng house rules. Kung mahigpit po tayo, parang lobo yan. Kung sobra, naman, maluwag. Kung hangin sa loob ng lobo, kung maluwag, lalabas yung hangin. Kung mahigpit naman, puputok yung lobo. Para pong house rules yan sa bahay. Ano po ba tayo? Mahigpit po ba tayo? O sobra po tayong maluwag? Sa kanilang pakikipagbarkada, sa paggawa ng gawaing bahay. Ngayon pong pandemic, inaalaw po ba natin silang lumabas ng bahay? Inaalaw po ba natin silang maglakwat siya? At kung inaalaw natin sila, meron po ba yung curfew? O sa panahon na gusto lang nila? Spend time with them. Bonding. Ano po ba yung bonding nyo? Of course, mahirap po ngayon ang lumabas. Kahit po yung bonding sa pagluluto, nakakasama po ba natin ating mga anak? Ang ating mismong pamahalaan po, binigyan ng halaga kung kain ng sabay. If you remember, last week po, nagpa-uwi ang ating, meron tayong executive order na pinapa-uwi na 3:00 ang lahat ng mga empleyado upang makasabay nila, kahit minsan lang, sa hapunan yung kanilang pamilya. Sa TV, nakukuha po natin bang magsabay manood ng TV? Kahit isang palabas lang? And do we suggest when we want things to be done? Do we know how to listen? Do we know how to give them personal space? Marunong po tayong makinig sa ating mga anak. Kung hindi po tayo marunong makinig sa ating mga anak, maghahanap po sila ng ibang tao na makikinig sa kanila. Yung iba po, nakakapagtaka, naglalabas ng kanilang sama ng loob sa Facebook. Bakit nila ito nagagawa? Kasi wala silang makausap. Yung iba naman sa barkada, ang iba sa ibang tao nakikilala sa Facebook. Kaya tuloy po, alam niyo po ba, sa panahon ng pandemya, ang dami pong naloloko sa Facebook. Ang dami nilang nakikilala sa Facebook na willing makinig sa kanila. Tuloy, marami sa kanilang nagiging biktima ng cybercrime. At ngayon pong panahon ng pandemya, dahil nandun sila sa bahay, do we give them personal space? Kahit po maliit ang ating bahay, meron po bang isang sulok na pwedeng masabi ng inyong anak ay pwede siyang umupo doon, pwede siyang magsolo? Yung cellphone po ba ng anak nyo, kinakalkal nyo? Yung gamit ng mga anak nyo, kinakalkal nyo po ba? Ngayon na oras na kanilang pag-aaral, do we give them time to really study? O dahil nasa bahay sila, natural lang na utusan sila kahit oras ng kanilang pag-aaral. Sa ating pong pagiging magulang, ang pinaka-purpose talaga ng ating pagiging magulang is to be a good example and to leave the child in the way of Christ. Sabi nga po ni Max Lucado. Ano po ba ang ginagawa natin upang tayo ay maging lodi, idol ng ating mga anak? Meron po ba tayong ginagawa upang sila ay makuha natin ang kanilang loob o tinatabay po ba natin sila palayo sa atin? Sa panahon pong ito, kami ay nagagalak sa Commission on Higher Education na makita na merong ginagawa ang ESAT-U na para makonek ang mga estudyante, makonek ang ating mga guro, at of course, makonek kayo sa kanila. Ngayon po, higit sa anumang panahon, kailangan po nila kayo. Ano po ang ginagawa ng inyong mga anak sa bahay? Kailangan po nilang malaman yon upang magkaroon po ng magandang interaction. Kasi po sa panahon na to, mahirap po talaga. Mahirap ang pag-aaral, mahirap din makakonek ang school sa inyong mga anak. Kaya kailangan po ang tulong talaga ng mga magulang. Kayo po na lodi ng bayan, na lodi ng mga anak nyo, patuloy po tayong maging lodi. Patuloy po tayong maging ilaw ng mga kanilang ng ilaw ng iyong tahanan, haligi ng iyong tahanan. Patuloy po tayong maging magandang halimbawa sa ating mga anak. Kaya nga po ako tuwing graduation, palagi kong sinasabi sa mga graduates, napasalamatan niyo na ba ang inyong mga magulang? Yung mga estudyante na nandito, hanggat buhay ang mga magulang niyo, bigyan niyo sila ng halaga. Alam ko maraming mga pagkakataon na kayo ay nagtatampo sa kanila, pero huwag nating hayaan na ang tampong ito ang magpalayo ng husto sa magandang relasyon ninyo sa inyong pamilya. Salamat on behalf of ESAT-U. Salamat sa magandang activity na to. Salamat at nagkakaroon kayo ng interaction kahit po sa pandemic ito. On behalf of CHED Region 6, I wish you a fruitful and productive activity ahead of you. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cristobal, our director from the CHED Regional Office 6, for the very brief, true, and heartwarming message. At this point in time, we will be proceeding with our resource person for today, and I am given the privilege to introduce her to all of us. Our speaker for today is a graduate of Human Ecology, major in Family Development from UP Los Baños. She is also a graduate of Master of Public Affairs from the same school way back in 2013. She is the author of Labing Limang Araw, Kwentong Pambata Ukol sa COVID-19, an ebook, and ang Quarantine Diary 2020, a journal and workbook for teens in time of COVID-19, an e-journal. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker for today is an accomplished researcher with relevant studies and publications under her name. She has also a vast experience in extension activities, mostly centered on child and adolescent welfare, family development, mental health, and psychosocial support. Currently, she is an assistant professor 7 of the Department of Human and Family Development Studies, University of Philippines, Baños. Friends, please join me in welcoming our resource speaker, Ms. Sarah Jen Cabalonga Pakarangan. Ma'am?
Hi, good morning everyone. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Thank you, Iloilo Science and Technology University, headed by the President, Dr. Raul F. Muyong, for inviting me this morning. And I would also like to recognize the presence of the Director of CHED Region 6, Dr. Maura Consolacion Cristobal, and to God TWG, and of course to Ma'am Emily De La Cruz for coordinating this event. So for today, I will be presenting to you a topic on parenting adolescents in times of COVID-19. Is it okay for me to share screen now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So for this morning, the topic that was given to me to present to you is Parenting Adolescents in Times of COVID-19 Pandemic. Again, I'm Professor Sarah Jen C. Pakarangan from the Department of Human and Family Development Studies, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So for today, I have here 4 objectives. I just added the number 2 objective. The first objective for this morning is to determine what are the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic to families. Number 2 is to explain ano ba tong adolescent stage na ito. Number 3 is to identify what are the pressing needs of adolescents in distance learning. And number 4, to give some tips on creating supportive environment for adolescents' well-being in times of COVID-19 pandemic. According to World Health Organization, they declared that COVID-19 is really a global emergency on January 30, 2020. And it is the first time that we've heard these phrases, we need to flatten the curve. And because of this global emergency, because of COVID-19, there are border shutdowns, travel restrictions, and even quarantine protocols. So until now, nararanasan natin ito. And these border shutdowns are not just here in the Philippines, but globally. That's the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And because of this pandemic, we already experiencing this economic crisis, and we experience also public health emergency, just as nalaman natin na may disparity pala sa number of patients or COVID-19 patients alongside with the number of hospitals and doctors, especially here in the Philippines. And of course, ang sentro ng ating pag-uusapan ngayong umagang ito ay sa family challenges. Sobrang laki po ng epekto ng COVID-19 sa pamilya po, lalo na sa panahon ngayon. To give you a few statistics on what is really the impact of COVID-19 among families in terms of economic resource, COVID-19 is pushing between 71 and to 100 million families will be experiencing extreme poverty this 2020. This is according to the latest global economic prospects, according to the study of Mahler 2020. So ibig sabihin po nito, magkakaroon po tayo ngayong 2020 ng 71 to 100 million na makaka-experience ng extreme poverty with respect to family globally. And what is the global poverty rate? Actually po, the global poverty rate was projected to go down to 8.2% in 2019. However, because of COVID-19, it is already projected to increase to 8.8 until 9.2% this 2020. So may increase po ng global poverty rate from 8.2 to 8.8. Ang pinakamataas po niyan ay 9.2%. These are the projected information with regards to global poverty rate. Next, ang World Bank po ay meron po siyang definition. It's a technical definition at present. At ang definition po nila ng new poor present by World Bank ay those who were expected to be non-poor in 2020 prior to the COVID-19 outbreak but are now expected to be poor in 2020. So prior to pandemic, ano po siya, may mga expectations na po, may mga projected na how many families will be experiencing poverty. However, meron pong nadagdag at tinatawag po nila yun na new poor. Ibig pong sabihin, ito po yung ine-expect na dagdag na number of poor families. Ang cause po nito ay pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So we're calling that new poor now. So who are the new poor? These are the families who are being affected extremely by COVID-19. In addition to the number of families who are already projected to be poor this 2020. Now, ito po ang kanilang illustration. Illustration of 2 definitions of new poor at the country level. So from 17% of poor families globally pre-COVID, before COVID-19, that's the expectation, it jumped to 22%. Ang point po natin dito, malaki po ang epekto ng COVID-19 in terms po sa socio-economic status ng bawat pamilya. Hindi lang po sa Pilipinas, kundi sa buong mundo. Now, siguro sa Pilipinas, I've made a research from the recent Philippine Science Authority research. This year lang, January 2020, ang ina-expect po na ang unemployment rate here in the Philippines ay 5.3% nung January. That is equivalent to 2.4 million. Tapos nung kasagsagan ng COVID-19, April, ang unemployment po bigla ng Pilipinas ay 17.7%, and that is equivalent to 7.3 million. Ganun po kalaki ang dami ng mga tao sa Pilipinas na nawalan po or nawalan ng trabaho dahil sa COVID-19. At ngayong pinaka-recent na data na inilabas ng PSA ay nitong July, and we have 10% of unemployment rate here in the Philippines, and that is 4.6 million, equivalent to 4.6 million Filipino people who are unemployed. So ngayon po, aside from the socio-economic status, another impact of COVID-19 pandemic ay sa psychosocial development, psychosocial area ng bawat pamilya. Kaya po ang study ng Canada, in their statistics study this 2020, families are reported to feel very or extremely anxious resulting from COVID-19 related confinement. So ito po ang nararanasan ng pamilya. Very anxious po sila kasi remember po, as much as we want to go out, sabi nga ng isang sikat na artista, bawal talagang lumabas to flatten the curve. Ayun siya. And as much as we want to really spend time with our friends, spend time with our neighbors, hindi po siya pwede because of protocols that we need to follow. At hindi po kasi siya it is not our personal decision to stay at home. We are required to stay at home for our safety and for the safety of the community that we're into. Ayan. The pandemic is still ongoing. However, sa ibang bansa po, other neighboring countries that we have, other Asian countries, wala na po silang COVID-19, just like in Taiwan and other Southeast Asian countries. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, it is still ongoing. And nakikita po natin everyday sa news na merong nadadagdag na number of COVID-19 patients every day. And of course, if it is still ongoing, at ilang months na po ba tayong nasa pandemic? So since March po ito, di ba? Dito po sa amin, sa Region 4, hindi na po kami nagklase ng March 17, starting March 17. Lahat na po talaga ay nasa bahay. Hindi na pwedeng pumunta sa campus, hindi na nag-stop lahat ng bagay. So because of this, social and economic impacts are likely to be long-standing. Ibig sabihin po, hindi lang po ang epekto po nitong pandemic ay hindi lang po ngayong 2020. It goes beyond this year. It is projected na 2 to 3 or until 5 years po ang effect nitong pandemic na ito. Okay, I would like to present lang po itong Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory, especially for the parents, kasi this topic is on parenting adolescents in times of COVID-19. Bakit ko po ito pine-present? Ito po ay isa sa mga pinaka-core ng aming major, that's family development. Kailangan pong maintindihan ano po ba ang nangyayari sa isang pamilya, paano ba naepektuhan ang isang individual. Kung makikita po natin dito sa teorya na ito, marami pong circles yan at ang nasa pinakaloob na circle ay individual. Tayo po yon as individuals or kayo, mga adolescents. And outside your environment, your immediate environment actually is the family that you're into. That's the microsystem and it goes beyond the mesosystem, exosystem, and the macrosystem. Kung ano po ang nangyayari sa inyo as an individual, meron pong epekto yan sa microsystem, sa mesosystem, exosystem, at saka sa macrosystem. Ngayon, kung may nangyayari din po sa inyong environment, halimbawa po, may nangyayari sa inyong family, you will be affected as an individual. And the larger environments will be affected also. Ganun po ang Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory. Whatever is happening to you, it affects the environment that you're into. And whatever is happening to your environment, it has an effect on you. So at present, ano bang nangyayari sa ating environment? So merong pandemic. Ibig pong sabihin nito, lahat po tayo ay affected by it. Ayan. Sa family context naman, we have this human ecological framework, no? Meron tayong natural environment, human-built environment, and the socio-cultural environment. Kung makikita po natin yung mga arrows na yan, ibig po sabihin yan, interrelated silang dalawa. Kagaya po ng Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory, lahat po na nangyayari sa natural environment, sa socio-cultural environment, at saka sa human-built environment, may effect po yan sa pamilya. Kunwari po sa human-built environment, ano po bang isang epekto ng COVID, no? Sa human-built environment po natin, sa halimbawa sa mga sa mga malls, halimbawa sa mga supermarkets, yung mga ganon. Even if we want to go there as much as we want, parang ganon, hindi pwede. Kasi may oras lang ng pagbukas at may oras lang ng pagsara. Dumating pa sa point sa Pilipinas na hindi pwedeng araw-araw kang pumunta sa mall. Meron lang specific dates for you to go there. Depende kung saan ka nagstay. Now, sa family systems theory, paano ba tinitignan? Dahil sa parenting po ito, para po maintindihan natin ng ating mga anak, ito po ay inintroduce sa atin ni Dr. Murray Bowen. Ano po ba ang sinasabi dito? Sinasuggest po ng teorya na to na kung gusto mong intindihin ang iyong anak or kung gusto mong intindihin ang isang individual, kailangan po nakikita mo din ano ang nangyayari sa kanyang pamilya. Sabi nga kanina ng ating director sa CHED, we cannot judge someone based lang sa nakikita natin. We need to really study what is really going on sa environment ng batang yan. Halimbawa po ngayong pandemic, may mga estudyante po na nakakapasa ng mga requirements on time. May mga estudyante rin po na hindi nakakapasa ng mga requirements on time. Does it mean na tamad yung mga hindi nakakapasa ng mga requirements on time? Pwede po, pero pwede din naman na meron siyang present na pinagdadaanan or may pinagdadaanan ng kanyang pamilya kaya hindi siya makapag-focus. So I would like to emphasize, especially po sa ating mga parents ngayon, na if we want to really understand kung gusto nating maintindihan ang ating mga anak, we need to really also put into context or kailangan din nating isaalang-alang ano ba talaga yung nangyayari sa ating pamilya kasi meron po itong epekto sa mga adolescents na nakapaloob dun sa pamilya na yon. Kasi remember po, kasama po dito sa teorya na to that family is an emotional unit. Ibig sabihin po, halimbawa, masaya kayo ngayon tapos may nagbalita po na hindi maganda, makaka-apekto po yon sa overall environment ng family. Ganun po yung family systems theory. Ayan. Ipe-present ko lang po yung tatlong components ng family systems theory. Ito po ay nakapaloob sa parenting for adolescents. So the first one is non-summativity. These are technical terms, but I will be discussing it in the context of COVID-19 pandemic and sa pagmamagulang po or parenting sa mga adolescents. Non-summativity, ang sinasabi po dito is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Di ba sa addition po, pag yung mga whole number doon, pag pinag-add mo siya, equal lang po siya sa magiging result. Pero sa non-summativity, that's why it is called non-summativity kasi ang gusto niyang sabihin, as a member of the family, hindi ka pwedeng mag-work on your own. Hindi pwedeng mag-isa ka lang. Kailangan you work together as a family kasi mas malaki po mas nagiging maganda ang result if you work together as a family and not as an individual member of a family. Kaya po siya sinasabi na the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So sa panahon ng pandemic, this is high time for the families to really work together as one. The next one is circular causality. Family members are interrelated. This is related doon sa ating mga teorya na kanina ko nabanggit. Paano po siya nagiging interrelated? Halimbawa po may problema ang anak, kahit walang problema ang magulang, magiging problema na ng magulang yung problema ng anak. And ganun din po ang nangyayari pag may condition yung magulang, halimbawa, nagiging concern din siya ng anak. And then, sa equifinality naman po, family may react similarly to the same experience or achieve outcomes by different processes. So, Ang pamilya po ay isang function ng pamilya is to really provide for the basic needs of the family. So prior to pandemic, families have ways, may mga paraan po ang pamilya para makapag-provide para sa kanyang mga anak. For example, working sa office, isa sa mga examples yan. Ang sinasabi po sa equifinality, dahil isa pong goal ay tustusan or bigyan ng pagkain or ma-provide yung basic needs ng bawat pamilya, ang ginagawa po ngayon ng mga families, especially those families na nawalan ng trabaho, no? Isa sa mga naapektuhan ngayong pandemic ay yung aviation natin. Nawalan kasi ng mga travels abroad, ganyan. So marami talagang na-lay off ng mga pilots, ng mga flight stewardess, yung mga ganon. So I've seen people from the aviation industry na kailangan talaga nilang mag-provide for their family. So ano pong ginagawa nila? Nag-online selling po sila. Kahit hindi po 'yon yung trabaho nila prior, but they need to live, they need to give something to their family. Okay. Sino po si Joseph? All right, sige po. System. Ang pamilya po ay isang sistema. Ibig sabihin po, sa isang sistema, kailangan po mag-function siya ng maayos kasi pag hindi po siya nag-function ng maayos, magkakaproblema. Kagaya rin po ng ating katawan yan. So we have different kinds of systems sa ating katawan and it's expected for our system to function well. May function siya na kailangan niyang i-render na kapag may namali dun sa system na yon, magkakaroon tayo ng sakit, magkakaroon tayo ng problema. At ganun din po sa pamilya, family is a system at may functions po ang bawat miyembro may functions po ang family. And we have two kinds of systems with respect to families. We have open system at saka closed system. Ang open system po, wala po yata dito. Ang open system po ay halimbawa sa information, gaano kadaming information ang alam na ba ng isang pamilya at nakakatulong ba itong mga information na to sa kanyang family per se? Parang ganon. Ayan. And sa sa parenting, adolescents, alam ko po, may mga parents po tayo dito, no? Even yung mga faculty and yung mga may position po sa ISET University. You to our parents, and it's really hard na nandun tayo sa konteksto na nasa pandemic at hindi mo alam, sometimes no, hindi natin alam kung sinong merong ganitong virus. Kasi meron pa tayong term na asymptomatic cases. They don't have wala silang mga signs that they have the virus, but still they have it. At kung minsan, yun yung dahilan kung bakit nakakahawa yung sakit. Ito po ang isa sa mga core ng aking talk ngayong araw na ito. COVID-19 pandemic is changing family life. Binabago niya po talaga ang pamumuhay ng lahat ng pamilya ngayon. It is already a statement. It is really true. It's not a question anymore. It is a statement. Ibig mong sabihin, totoo po ito. Ang COVID-19 pandemic ay binabago niya yung pamumuhay ng bawat pamilya. Ayan. In terms of what? In terms of family structure. So pag sinabi nating family structure, ngayon pong panahon ng pandemic, no, kung dati halimbawa, may mga parents po na they're working abroad, but because of pandemic, nawalan sila ng trabaho. So the families are not used sa presence, halimbawa, ng tatay or nanay sa bahay, tas bigla, umuwi na siya sa Pilipinas, doon na tumira, nakatira na siya ngayon sa bahay niyo. And the family members has to adjust because the structure is already different. At pag may changes po sa family structure, may changes po sa decision-making process, yung mga ganyan. At the same time, ano pa pong epekto ng COVID-19 sa family dynamics po, sa relationships, sa mga processes na nangyayari sa pamilya? Kasi isipin niyo po, yung mga adolescents ay dati pumapasok sila sa eskwelahan. Kasi ngayon, di ba, pasukan na dapat. Morning, dapat alis na sila sa bahay, tapos hapon pa sila babalik. Pero ngayon, nandun siya sa bahay, buong araw. At hindi lang yung adolescent yung nandun. Lahat ng miyembro ng pamilya, kung hindi naman required sa yung lumabas, ay nandoon sa loob. So the more family members inside the family, the more interactions are happening. So siguro may mga families dito na parang ang gulo-gulo ng bahay namin, laging magulo, tapos minsan laging nag-aaway, magkakapatid, yung mga ganon. Baka you can identify with it. It is really, it can be, pwede talaga siya ma-observe. Kasi the more people in the family, dun sa loob ng bahay, mas marami kasing interactions. At alam po natin na magkakaiba po tayo ng size ng bahay. The size of the house also affects the family dynamics inside the family. Kasi alam po natin na iba-iba po ang status natin sa buhay. May mga pamilya po na may sarili-sariling kwarto ang mga anak. May mga pamilya po na walang kwarto. And at the same time, yung area ng kanilang bahay ay limited po talaga. At kapag ganun po, marami po talagang pwedeng mangyari sa mga ganong klase ng sitwasyon. At ang third point dito, lahat po ng family members ay kailangan mag-adjust. Adjustments are being observed, are being present in this time. So ito po yung 3 points ng mga changes sa family life. Siguro sa mga parents ngayon, na-observe nila yon, especially kung halimbawa, prior to pandemic, you're a housewife or house husband, nandun ka sa bahay, sanay ka na wala ng tao pagdating ng 8 o'clock, yung mga ganon, tapos bigla, nandun na sila lahat. Malaki pong adjustment ito sa families. Ayan. May isa po akong study na nakita. This is a recent study kasi gusto natin na given nga yung impact ng COVID-19 pandemic, paano natin tutulungan ang mga pamilya, ang mga parents na maging resilient. Ang sabi sa study nito ay risk and resilience in family well-being during COVID-19 pandemic. Kung titignan po natin ang illustration, ang ganda po ng pagka-capture niya kung ano po talaga yung nangyayari sa loob ng pamilya. Although may kulang pa po mga factors that can affect the family, but they've presented enough para po pwede nating i-discuss. So sa mga parents po ngayon, ang una pong nasa picture natin is the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of COVID-19 pandemic, sabi nga natin, nagkakaroon ng social disruption. Bakit po nagkakaroon ng social disruption? Kagaya po ng job loss, na pag-usapan na po natin ito. As much as we want na magkaroon ng trabaho, wala na po tayong trabaho. Pati po yung mga restaurants, it is really affected, ganon. Bigla kang nawalan ng work. At pag nawalan ka ng trabaho, anong epekto nito sa pamilya? Mas less po yung resources na pwedeng makatugon sa pangangailangan ng family. Tapos magkakaroon ng financial insecurity. Ayun. Tapos, kapag hindi kasi napoprovide yung basic needs ng pamilya, kasi these are the needs na kailangan natin to survive, magkakagulo po. Kalimitan po, mag-aaway yung mag-asawa, ganun, mag-aaway yung magkakapatid, yung mga ganyan. Ang sinasabi pa po dito sa social disruption is social distancing. Siguro, malaki talagang epekto nito sa mga adolescents, no? Yung dati, nakakausap mo in person, yung mga kaibigan, nakakapagkwento ka sa kanila. Pero ngayon, medyo siguro nahihirapan kayong makapag-open sa kanila. Kaya maganda sigurong i-open nyo din kasi may mga adolescents ako nakita kanina dito sa webinar. Maganda ring mag-open kayo sa mga magulang ninyo kasi ito yung pinaka magandang time, yung magkaroon ng quality time with your parents also and vice versa. Kasi mahirap no sa adolescents na halimbawa gusto mo mag-open sa kaibigan mo tapos yung structure ng bahay nyo parang rinigan naman. Ganon. So pwede kang magkapagkwento siguro madaling araw na, yung mga ganyan, yung hindi naririnig. Yun. Tapos nabanggit na po natin kanina yung confinement na tinatawag, yung kailangan nasa loob ka lang ng bahay. It is really stressful to just stay at home if you're not used to it. And because of these social disruptions, ano pong nakalagay dyan sa arrow? Child adjustments are there. Kapag nag-adjust ang bata, there are emotional problems, behavioral functioning, kagaya ng sabi kanina ng Dr. Mora Consolacion, mental health is really increasing and it is expected to increase because adolescents are confined in houses. Ganon. And academic progress, mag-a-adjust ang mga bata. Kumusta ba ang pag-aaral ng ating mga adolescents sa ISAT-U? Okay ba? How do you progress? Naka-modules po ba kayo? Do you have synchronous and asynchronous lessons? Mga ganon. And of course, peer relations. No, kumusta na ba yung mga kaibigan ko kaya? Ano kaya mga nangyayari sa kanila? These are the adjustments that are being present among adolescents. Not only adolescents, but also children. May araw po after ng social disruption, this is the caregiver well-being. Ito po, pwede nating ilagay ang mga magulang dito. Nagkakaroon po ng psychological distress ang mga magulang, nagkakaroon ng stress, tumitindi ang stress niya dahil sa COVID-19 pandemic, and even parents, they also have symptoms of mental health. Yung box, dun na po tayo sa box na nandyan. So if this is the whole family, ano yung pinaka naapektuhan? The parent and child relationship. Ano bang epekto? Kung ikaw ay, if you're going to observe ang nangyayari ngayon sa inyong pamilya, ano bang epekto ng COVID-19 sa iyong relationship sa iyong anak? Parent-child relationship, mas naging close ba kayo ng anak mo or mas naging kayo, hindi na nag-uusap? Yung mga ganon. Kasi ang tagal na nga natin, para magsa 7 months na tayo under this COVID-19 pandemic. So, i-check natin, ano bang nangyari sa relationship ko sa anak ko? Mas naging close ba ako sa anak ko na adolescent? Or mas naging hindi? Ayan. And then sibling, subsystem. Ibig sabihin, kumusta ba yung relationship ng mga magkakapatid? Kumusta ba yung relationship mo sa kapatid mo? Mas nakilala mo ba ang kapatid mo? Or hindi? Mas nag-away talaga kayo? At isa pa sa mga naapektuhan nitong COVID-19 ay yung marital relationship, yung husband and wife relationship. So, ito po ang mga epekto ng COVID-19 sa family setup. Parent and child relationship, the sibling relationship, and the husband and wife. And kung ano man po yung merong relationship sa loob ng bahay, it is really being affected by pandemic. At gusto po natin, yung well-being ng family ay maging intact pa din siya, na kaya niyang harapin ang kanyang concerns, ang kanyang mga problema brought about by COVID-19. I would like to point out also na may mga nakalagay kasi dyan, yung rectangle na part, pre-existing family vulnerabilities. Ang ibig pong sabihin yan, may mga pamilya po na vulnerable na. Ibig sabihin po, mahirap, halimbawa po, mahirap na po sila. In poverty na po yung pamilya. As in, hindi na, halimbawa, hindi na nakakakain na 3 beses isang araw. Ganon. Dati, prior to pandemic, that's their condition already. But because of this pandemic, mas lalo pong silang naapektuhan kasi they already have this pre-existing family vulnerabilities. Kaya po, kailangan mag-work talaga ang ating, lahat po ng system sa ating lipunan, like the educational system, the political systems po that we're into, and the economic system, kailangan po talagang magtulungan para maging maayos po ang kalalagyan, hindi lang ng ating pamilya, kundi kalalagyan ng buong pamilya sa Pilipinas. Ganun po yung effect talaga, yung impact talaga ng COVID-19 pandemic. Ayan. Sinasabi dito na sa mga parents, pag na-expose ang isang parent sa isang stressor, naapektuhan ng kanyang cognitive, emotional, and physical aspect. Nagkakaroon siya ng fatigue. Ibig sabihin po, pag may stress, pag may papasok naman na stress talaga, di ba, naapektuhan yung way of thinking natin, yung decision-making process natin. It is being affected. At kung minsan, ang stressor ay equate natin siya sa problema. For example, nagiging mas emotional tayo at pag naging emotional tayo, mas nagiging pagod. Ganyan. At kapag po ang magulang ay na-stress po or being exposed to stressor, sinasabi po dito ay nagkakaproblema po sa parent and child relationship. Kasi halimbawa, may problema yung nanay mo or yung tatay mo, may epekto po yan. Paano siya makirelate sa inyo? Yun po ang ibig sabihin nito. Next is, sabi dito sa 2017 study, as parental stress levels rise, parents may be more likely to engage in harsh parenting. So habang tumataas yung stress ng parents, kahit dati hindi naman harsh ang iyong parenting style, pwede pong maging harsh ang iyong parenting style. Yun po yung gusto niyang sabihin. Pag lalong tumataas ang stress level ng mga magulang, mas nagiging may tendency po siya na maging harsh ang kanyang pagmamagulang. So ano pong gusto kong emphasize, because parents and adolescents are here, we need to really understand each other. Yon. Ang sinasabi pa dito, the central focus on family well-being comes in light of high-quality evidence to show that children's adjustments is largely contingent on the general climate and relationships in a family. Ang gusto niya lang pong sabihin ay ganito, para madaling maka-adjust ang mga anak sa mga ganitong sitwasyon, kailangan po yung klima or yung nangyayari sa pamilya, sa kabuuan, ay maayos pa din. Yun po yung gusto niyang sabihin. And of course, interventions to support child well-being are more effective when they include family components. Kung gusto po natin, kaya maganda po itong webinar na ginagawa po ng ISAT-U kasi nga hindi lang pwedeng adolescents yung tutugunan mo kasi they are already staying in their houses and their parents are there. So kung gusto mo mag-intervene sa kanyang education, kailangan po tugunan din yung pangangailangan ng bata in terms sa kanyang family. And this is one way. Paano tulungan ang mga parents? Paano ba dapat maging parent, especially ngayong COVID-19 pandemic? And we need to support the children or adolescents, especially yung ating mga estudyante. Mas effective po yung intervention support, ang gusto niyang sabihin, kapag in-include po natin ang buong pamilya. So sino ba ito? Sino ba itong mga kabataan na ito? Ang World Health Organization po ay meron siyang definition ng adolescents, ng youth, at young people. So magkakaiba po, ang difference po nila ay age range. Pag sinabi nating adolescents, these are people that are in the year age group of 10 to 19 years old. Pag youth po, hanggang 15 to 24 and young people 10 to 24. Sabi po ni Ma'am Emily, mostly po sa inyo ay mga freshies yata. So yung mga parents po ng mga freshman students ay nandito. So most of you are adolescents. You are in the group of adolescents. So sa buong mundo, 2019 UNICEF data, there are 1.2 billion adolescents in the world. It comprises of, this is 16% of the world's population. So medyo madami po itong percentage po na ito. In the Philippines, meron pong 30 million young people between the age of 10 to 24. This 28% of the Philippine population. So we need to understand now, parents, ano ba yung nangyayari? Sino ba tong anak ko? Kasi di ba ang pagmamagulang, kailangan may adjustments din from iba kasi may stages kasi of human development. Iba talaga ang relating to your children, young children. Iba talaga ang relating din sa adolescents. So, depende sa edad ng anak kung paano ka makikipag-relate sa kanya at kung anong klaseng pagmamagulang ba ang dapat mong i-exercise. So, ang adolescent stage, it is a unique stage of human development. Just to run through, I know alam nyo na ito, pero ito po ang nangyayari sa inyong mga anak. This is a unique stage of human development. Bakit po siya unique? Kasi itong stage ng development na ito, marami pong nangyayari sa isang adolescent. Nandun yung rapid physical, cognitive, and psychosocial growth. And because of these rapid changes sa stage na ito, it affects the adolescents' feelings. Halimbawa, it affects how they feel, how they make decisions, and interact with the world around them. Iba po ang, minsan po masyadong emosyonal yung mga adolescents, minsan po iba silang mag-isip, minsan po yung mga decisions na ginagawa nila ay somehow yung parents hindi nila maintindihan paano nag-arrive yung adolescent na yon, na ganun yung maging decisions niya. Kasi marami pong nangyayari sa stage nga po na ito. Isa po sa mga courses na ino-offer namin sa aming department ay Human Physiology. At isa po sa mga sentro ng pag-uusap tungkol doon sa Human Physiology na course ay ang adolescents kasi hindi pa talaga buo ang kanilang prefrontal cortex. So ibig sabihin, para saan po ba yung prefrontal cortex? Ito po yung decision-making process. Ito yung part ng brain natin na nakakaya na nating magdesisyon ng tama. So at the age of 25 po actually siya nabubuo yung prefrontal cortex. Kaya po, importante po sa ating mga magulang na even if they are already adolescents, kailangan po talaga nila ng gabay, ng patnubay. Sabi sa study na to, this is recent. Adolescence is often associated with increased risk-taking, an increased need for social connection and peer acceptance, and a heightened sensitivity to peer pressure. So adherence, ang gusto po nating i-point out ay adherence or pag-obey po sa social distancing rules may be especially challenging for young people. Kasi they want to relate nga to their friends, they want to go out, they want to bond together, ganon. So especially challenging for young people itong COVID-19 concerns natin. As of March 26, dako naman po tayo ang pag-aaral po ngayon, very new po sa atin, no? The new normal, sabi nga nila ay studying in your house. Para naka-homeschool po tayong lahat, homeschooling, na we can just see our teachers or professors in front of a laptop, for example. Pero wala tayo sa school. Ganon. As of March pa po ito ha, as of March 26, 2020, more than 150 million children and adolescents sa 165 countries are affected by school closures. So kahit gusto natin pumunta sa school, hindi tayo pwedeng magklase doon. Or nagkaklase po ba sa Iloilo po ng face-to-face? Question po yon. Sino po ang pwede kayang sumagot?
Walang face-to-face, ma'am.
Okay po. So,
flexible learning.
Okay po. So, flexible learning po tayo. We just have these modules or meron tayong synchronous and asynchronous meetings with our students, and the faculty, the students, the parents, everyone are adjusting to this new normal that we're having. Kasi gusto talaga natin, syempre, ipagpatuloy pa din yung pag-aaral ngayong SEM na ito. Ayan. So, sa mga magulang po ito, magtatanong po ako sa mga parents natin na nandito kung okay lang po. Pag-usapan po natin ng disiplina kasi parenting adolescents in times of COVID-19 po ito. Pero maganda pong pagbulay-bulayan. We need to reflect upon this question. Para sa akin, ano ba yung disiplina? And I have ginagamit ko, ano bang strategy ko sa pagdidisiplina ng aking anak na adolescent? And I think that as a disciplinarian, I am. Sino po ba tayo as a disciplinarian? So, okay lang po ba na magtawag ako ng mga parents? I think discipline is. Sino po ba ang parent natin dito? Ayan. Okay, magtatawag po ako ha, para po maganda po yung sharing natin. Para hindi lang po ako, para may ano po tayo, may input.
Sige po, ma'am.
Sige po. Titingin na lang po ako dito sa screen ko kung sino po yung, pwede bang pa-open ng screen ng ating mga webcam, ng ating mga parents po, so I can see them.
We would like to request our parents to please turn on your video so that our speaker can see you. She will be picking in random those who would be answering her question. Thank you.
Ayan. Kailangan po natin ng input nyo ngayon kasi pwede pong makarelate, maka-learn po ang lahat po ng parents na ngayon. So we can help each other po, especially now. So I would like to ask po, titingin na lang po ako ng mga nandito ha. Sige po. Si ma'am, nagsara na sila ng ano. Si ma'am ano na lang ang pipili para hindi ko kasalanan. Si Ma'am Emily de la Cruz. Ma'am, pwede bang pili kayo ma'am ng isang parent po natin from the list po na pwedeng sumagot? What is discipline? I think discipline is, I have used blank as a strategy to discipline. And I think that as a disciplinarian, I am. Ma'am Emily, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, pick one po from the list of parents. Mas kilala niyo po sila, ma'am eh.
Sandali, ma'am, ha? Sino ba to? Pwede po ba si Ma'am Salvacion Esposado? Ma'am Salvacion po. Hello po, si Ma'am Salvacion po Esposado. Pwede, ma'am?
Dapat mag-diretso.
Sige po, ako na lang po ang tatawag kung hindi po ready, kung hindi pa po prepared si Ma'am Salvacion. Si Doc, ano na lang, Doc, faculty na lang ang aking tatawagin para exciting. Paano ba sila, paano ba yung parenting style, ano ba yung disiplina na ginagawa, pagdidisiplina na ginagawa sa mga bahay. May I call Ma'am Corazon Fernandez? Doc Corazon? Ma'am, what is discipline for you? Anong strategy niyo sa pagdidisiplina? Go ahead, ma'am. Ma'am, nakamute po kayo, ma'am. Nakamute kayo.
Okay. Can you hear me now there, ma'am?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, good morning. Well, I was saying that actually, ma'am, I do not know if I can still relate with you because I'm already a lola.
Opo.
Okay. So all my children are grown up.
Ma'am, nakamute ulit po kayo, ma'am.
Oh, sige. Okay, do you hear me now, ma'am?
Yes po, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
Sige. Now, what I was saying is that with my experience as a mom, I can see that there's a very big difference as to the meaning or the definition of discipline before as compared to now. Because you see, before when we speak of discipline, you know that which enters our mind is that we have a disciplined child if you know the child can right away obey what we would want them to do. But today, I think parents need especially to be flexible. Okay. Most especially that the psychology of the young today is much more different from the psychology of the young before. So parenting today is a very big challenge to me, ma'am. Sa totoo lang po. Okay, especially to the young parents today. That is why I think we already have been made aware of the statistics of mga suicide incidents. Okay, because the young today are much harder to understand as compared to before. So how do I define discipline now? Well, maybe we can say that a child is a disciplined child if we will be able to successfully let them follow what you would want them to be without any resistance, or for as long as there is responsibility in them in what they do, ma'am. Okay? Because you see, I cannot always say that we are always right, because it might be that what may mean right to us is not correct to our children already, considering the generation that they are in now. Okay? So, good luck na lang sa mga parents ngayon.
Ayan. So, I agree with what Dr. Corazon just said, no, na this time, parang ang panahon talaga natin ngayon, it is really difficult, especially for parents to do this kind of parenting. Why? Because of the exposure of children nowadays. Before po kasi, malaki po talagang effect ng social media sa ating sa mga bata ngayon sa kasalukuyan, and even po the internet usage and more, ganon, meron po talaga siyang effect. So hindi na lang po kasi tayo hindi na lang sa atin galing information, no? Hindi na lang galing sa kaibigan or galing sa mga parents sa bahay, kundi there are lots of information that are really available or accessible sa internet. And sometimes, dito po nagkakaproblema yung magulang at anak. At tama po si ma'am, at times po, parents are not all the time correct. Hindi naman talaga 100% na tama lagi ang mga magulang. At the same time, hindi naman po talaga laging tama din ng anak. So, kailangan po sa pagdidisiplina, intindihin pong mabuti, ano ba ang sitwasyon ng anak ko, paano ko ba ito tutugunan. May isa po, magtatawag pa po ako ng isa ha, sa perspective naman po ng mga tatay. Sino na po ang tatay dito? Nakikita ko lang po ayan, si Sir John Corona. Sir John, pwede po bang i-share mo sa amin, paano niyo po ba, ano pong discipline ang nire-render niyo sa inyong mga anak?
I think I am just going to answer this question, ma'am.
Okay po, sir. Take it away. Go po.
I think discipline is a system. I have used positive experiences as a strategy to discipline. I think that as a disciplinarian, I am myself as an example.
Okay po. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. Meron ka pong nabangkit kanina na word and that is really associated to discipline, no? Kasi marami pong konteksto ng disiplina. Depende po sa napagdaanan nating disiplina na ibinigay sa atin ng ating mga magulang. At the same time, the discipline that we're rendering, that we're giving to our children. But there's this one word na nasabi mo po kanina, yung positive.
Experiences po.
Positive experiences po. So, actually po, ang disiplina po, ang ibig pong sabihin niyan is to educate, especially po in matters of conduct. Kaya po nasabi kanina that discipline is really looking na yung adolescents, yung anak mo ay responsible siya sa kanyang buhay. Yung mga decision-making process niya ay sa ikakabuti niya yung magiging final result. Positive discipline po ang gusto nating. May term po tayo sa family development na ang disiplina po ay positive discipline. Kasi marami pong klase ng disiplina. Hindi po lahat ng disiplina ay nakakabuti po sa mga anak. Kaya po ang technical term po natin dyan ay positive discipline, and that is guidance. We're guiding, especially adolescents, no? We're guiding the adolescents as parents na ganito yung i-guide natin sila, pero hindi tayo yung magdedesisyon para sa kanila. We lay down kung ano po yung sitwasyon, and we are, alam mo yun, ini-encourage natin sila na mag-decide on their own. Kasi ang mga kabataan, ayaw din talaga nila na mag-decide ang mga magulang para sa kanila. Kasi nga, they are already adolescents. Ganon. So, guidance, to educate. Yun po ang ibig sabihin po ng discipline. To educate, to give guidance to them, to guide them, to lay down what is really what's happening, and para i-present din kung anong pwedeng maging result if ito yung decision na gagawin nila, para po makita nila yung whole picture. So yun po yung role ng isang parent po, to lay down everything sa bata, sa adolescents, para po yung ipakita ang bigger picture ng mga nangyayari. Yan. So ang disiplina po, it teaches by modeling. So ano pong ibig sabihin nito? You cannot give what you don't have. Ibig sabihin, kung ano po yung tinuturo mo, it can be seen in your action, or it is seen in your action. If you want your children na mag-decide na ganito, dapat ikaw din as a parent, you're also doing that. You walk the talk. Kung ano yung ina-expect mo sa kanila, yun ka din dapat. Ganon. Parang you are also like that. If you want them to be excellent, ganon, ikaw din as a parent should also be excellent. Halimbawa, you want your children to, or your adolescents to be on time. Pag may mga dapat gawin, yung mga ganon, ikaw din dapat na observe niya sa'yo na you also value time. Halimbawa, gusto mong sabihin sa iyong anak na family is really important. We really need to have this time together as a family. Yun yung gusto mong sabihin sa anak mo, dapat makita niya rin sa'yo na you really value your family and you give time to your family. Kasi if you're going to ask people, wherever you go, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, what is the most, or ano ba yung pinaka-importante sa buhay, talagang nasa top 3 talaga ang pamilya. So I have this study with my students before na to totoo, alam ng tao na importante ang pamilya sa kanya, pero kung tatanungin mo ilang oras ba ang dinedevote ng isang tao sa kanyang pamilya, hindi mo makikita yung relationship ng importansya at pagbibigay ng oras. Kasi dapat they should go hand in hand together. If you really value your family, you give time to your family. At dahil ngayon po nasa bahay tayo lahat, we give time to our family, we give quality time sa ating pamilya. Next po, it involves setting clear, consistent limits with reasons or purpose. Age appropriate po ang ating pagdidisiplina. Alam po natin ito bilang parents na iba po yung discipline na binibigay natin sa ating, halimbawa preschool yung anak mo or kaya elementary. Iba din po yung way of disciplining natin sa ating mga adolescents. Kaya po nakapaloob dyan, it should be age appropriate. And it fosters, ang discipline po, it should foster self-esteem and independence sa context of adolescent. Bakit po? Kasi sabi ko nga po kanina, inaalaw natin sila na makapag-decide on their own. At kapag yung isang adolescent po ay may kakayahang mag-decide on his or her own, nakaka-boost po ito ng self-esteem. At doon po natin sila gina-guide na maging independent as individuals. Kasi remember po, we will not be with our adolescents or we will not be with our children all the time. Hindi po natin makakasama ang ating mga anak ng 24/7. So bilang mga magulang po, kailangan po talagang turuan natin sila paano ba magdesisyon. Yung tamang desisyon. Ayan. Next po, sa ngayon po, what are the pressing needs? Third objective po tayo. What are the pressing needs of adolescents in distance learning? Dati po ang mga laptop, ang internet, ganon, hindi po siya need. Yan. Want po siya before. Pero ngayon, pressing need na po talaga siya, especially kapag online ang klase. Kailangan po ng magandang quality ng laptop para po ma-download mo yung mga lectures ng prof mo, yung mga modules na ginawa niya, yung mga ganon. So these are isa sa mga needs ng kabataan ngayon. Alam po natin yung Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I would like to emphasize po na totoo pa rin po ito hanggang ngayon. Parents, ang pinaka-importante pong matugunan sa pamilya are the physiological needs, kahit po panahon ng pandemic. Kailangan po nakakakain at may sinusuot, yung basic needs po ng mga adolescents, present po siya. So kailangan po i-check natin kung nag-breakfast na ba ang ating mga anak, nag-lunch na ba siya, nag-dinner na ba siya, ganon. Now, physiological needs are important in distance learning. Hindi pwedeng hindi kumain ang mga anak. Hindi pwedeng hindi kumain ang mga adolescents pagpapasok sa klase. Ganon. Halimbawa, ang klase niya 8 o'clock, so as much as possible, that adolescent needs to eat prior to the class. And of course, safety needs. Kailangan maramdaman, maipakita po natin, parents, na mahal po natin ang ating mga anak. At safe siya na nasa bahay siya. Kasi alam din po natin na isa sa mga increasing ngayon yung domestic violence. Sa bahay mismo, may mga nangyayaring hindi maganda sa loob ng pamilya. So ang gusto ko pong encourage ang mga parents at i-challenge na yung pinaka-safe place na dapat meron ng isang bata or isang adolescent is the home, is the family, dun sa pamilya niya. Para po kahit saan siya magpupunta, babalik pa rin po siya sa pamilya niya or sa bahay nila because that's the best place to live, that's the safest place to live. So as parents po, ganito po yung gusto nating sabihin sa mga parents na ito po ang i-provide natin, that our homes is the safest place para sa ating mga anak. And of course, yung belongingness, kailangan maramdaman, maipakita po hindi lang ng mga adolescents or bawat miyembro ng pamilya na kapamilya sila. They belong to that particular family. Hindi sila et sa puwera. Ganon. Kailangan po ng adolescents yon na makita niya na kasama siya sa family na ito. At may mga families po na effective din sa kanila yung isinasama na sa decision-making process yung mga adolescents. para po maramdaman din nila na they belong to that particular family. And of course, yung esteem needs, positive classroom culture, for example, maganda po na maging avenue din yung ating mga klase na ma-check, hindi lang ACADS, yung i-check talaga ng prof, no? I-check din what is really going on with them. And para po, alam mo yun, tanungin mo ang iyong mga estudyante din as a faculty, as a teacher, na hindi lang yung nagmamatter sa'yo yung academics niya, kundi nagmamatter din sa'yo ano talaga yung nangyayari sa kanya. Ayun, sa klase. Emotional check, ganon, parang pwede mo siyang gawin sa pag-start ng klase mo, sa end ng klase mo, yung mga ganon. And that develops self-esteem. O kaya tanungin mo sa kanila, ano yung nagawa mo for your family? Simple questions lang na kaya nilang isagot or sagutan or kaya nilang mag-open sa mga ganon. And then self-actualization, student is available to learn. So we would want all students, no, na maging self-actualize. Hindi lang sila, kundi tayong mga adults and tayong mga parents. Pero siguro sa akin, ang pinaka-pressing need of adolescents talaga ay bukod po sa mga kailangang gadgets and everything for learning, it is really the love and the basic needs sa family. Yung love kasi wala namang bayad yun eh. Parang hindi ka naman talaga hindi naman siya costly, ganon. Parang wala namang perang kaakibat yung pagmamahal. So kailangan sa family, it should be evident na may love and belongingness. Kasi ito rin po ay isa sa mga function ng pamilya. One of the functions of the family is love and belongingness po. And adolescents need it. Next po, sa last na po tayo sa ways to promote children's resilience to COVID-19 pandemic. This is a recent study by Bartlett and Vivret. These are the protective factors po sa mga parents na kailangan po ibigay sa mga anak na adolescents. Kailangan po maging sensitive at responsive po tayo sa ating mga anak. Ano ba yung mga needs nila? Kahit hindi nila sabihin, kaya po natin yung tignan as parents. And protective factor number 2, meeting basic needs, kagaya ng Maslow's kanina. We need to provide for it. And then number 3, emotional support for children, for your adolescents, yung love nga na sinasabi natin. These are all backed up by data, by researches, na kahit sa COVID-19, these are necessary, these are important. And then support for caregiver well-being. Gusto ko lang pong i-emphasize na isa sa mga protective factors po ay alagaan din ang kalusugan bilang mga magulang. Alam mo yon, you need to protect yourself also kasi kapag hindi mo na protektahan ang sarili mo, it will be your parenting style will be affected. So gusto niya pong sabihin na support for caregiver well-being. Adolescents who are here, you also need to be kind to your parents. Ganon. Kailangan makita din ng parents nyo na you value them, you love them, ganon. Tapos, yun, siguro I suggest, sa kultura kasi natin, no, hindi ko alam kung merong families dito that it's so easy for adolescents to say, I love you to your parents. Nasabi nyo na ba yun sa mga magulang nyo? Nag-I love you na ba kayo sa mga magulang nyo? Or you find it corny? And siguro I suggest na baby steps po itong mga ito na pwede nating sabihin yon. Kasi by simply saying I love you and it only means na you value what your parents are doing for you. Kasi hindi naman talaga madali maging magulang. Ayan. So next is social connectedness. Sa mga parents po, i-allow po natin ang ating mga anak na makipag-connect sa kanilang mga kaibigan. Ayun, pwede po yun. Pwede rin po natin silang, pwede pong yung friends nila, kakilala natin. Friends din natin. Para mas nakakapag-open po ang ating mga anak sa atin. Ayan. Ito po ay importante po. These are tips po para sa ating mga parents. Madali lang po itong mga ito na gawin sa family, one-on-one time. So, pwede pong may time kayo together with your adolescent as parents. Pag-usapan po ninyo, alam nyo na po ba kung anong favorite sports ng anak nyo? Alam nyo na po ba kung anong favorite niya music? Alam nyo na po ba na mahilig sa Korean novela, yung mga ganon? Anong latest niyang pinapanood? Or kaya, yung mga uso ngayon pa Zumba, yung mga ganyan. You can exercise together inside the house. One-on-one time. Ini-encourage ko po ang mga parents na you spend intentionally ha, hindi lang pag may oras, ganon. As in, pinagpaplanuhan po ito, na ganitong time, I will have this moment with my adolescent. Ganon. Mag-uusap kami. Kasi sa kultura ng Pilipinas, no, most of the time, it's just silent contracts. Ibig kong sabihin, hindi talaga siya stated. Halimbawa sa mga magulang, we are expecting something from our adolescents, pero hindi siya stated. Ibig sabihin, wala naman talagang napag-usapan. Ano siya, halimbawa sa, sa pag-aasawa ng maaga, parang, we are expecting, as parents, we are expecting our children, our adolescents, to finish their college degree. Ayun, pero hindi natin yun sinasabi. Ibig sabihin, silent contract siya. Yun lang yung iniisip nating expectation natin sa kanila. Ang gusto ko pong i-point out ay, you open, you sit down together, and tell it, say it, you state it. Hindi lang siya silent na kontrata. Next is keeping it positive. Teens especially need to be able to communicate with their friends. Tama ba, mga adolescents? Talagang kailangan nyo makipag-communicate sa inyong mga friends. Sa mga magulang, help your teen to connect through social media and other safe distancing ways. So, kailangan po emphasize yung safe. Kasi hindi po lahat ng kaibigan ay nakakabuti sa inyong mga anak. And adolescents also, you have to choose your friends as well. The next one is, you have to get structured. COVID-19, sabi kanina ng director ng CHED of Region 6, si Dr. Mora, sabi niya, routines. Routines are very important. COVID-19 has taken away our daily work, home and school routines. Alam po natin yan, lalo na sa ating mga nagtatrabaho. We're used to go to school and work there and do our instruction, research, and extension activities. Pero nawala po lahat yon. So kailangan po, sabi dito, this is hard for children, teenagers, and for you. So, gumawa po ng bagong routine sa bahay. Makakatulong po ito. Kailangan po as parents, alam natin anong oras yung, alam mo yun, anong oras yung klase ng anak mo. Kasi, minsan po, hindi magkapag-concentrate yung mga adolescents kasi, yun nga, hindi alam ng mga magulang kung anong oras ng klase ng mga anak and they tend to really be noisy, tawanan, kalimbangan, yung mga ganon sa bahay. So get structured, make a routine, tapos know the time schedule ng family. Listen. Ayan. Siguro ito yung reason why God created us to have 2 ears and 1 mouth, no? To listen more and speak less. Ayun siya. Napaka-importante po talagang makinig. Yun. And we individuals, we really love to talk. But at times, adolescents just need for us to listen. Makinig lang po. Be open and listen to your children. Your children will look to you for support and reassurance. So, importante po ito, makinig. We will listen to our children, to our adolescents. And number 4, sa parents po, please keep calm and manage your stress. This is very stressful time. Please take care of yourself sa ating mga magulang na nandito so you can support your children as well. Last slide ko na po ito. Family, ano po ba ang pamilya? Bakit natin kailangan pag-usapan yung well-being ng pamilya? Bakit kailangan natin pag-usapan yung pagmamagulang or parenting adolescents? Because first point, the family is the seedbed of what every person can be. May epekto po ang pamilya. Diyan po tayo nanggaling. Lahat po na nangyayari sa atin ay may effect sa family, whether positive or negative. So, kailangan po pangalagaan natin ang pamilya natin. Pangalawa po, behavioral patterns within the family are protracted to the community and to the society as a whole. Kung ano po ang nangyayari sa pamilya, kung paano nagbe-behave ang isang pamilya, nakaka-apekto po sa komunidad at sa society natin o sa buong bansa. So, kailangan po pangalagaan po natin ang ating mga pamilya. And the last one is, a nation can only be as strong as the families that comprise it. So, we make it a point, and I really want to thank Iloilo Science and Technology University for making it possible for this webinar. Kasi importante po ito sa mga magulang, sa mga anak. Dahil po kailangan po solid founded firm yung ating mga pamilya po para po sa ating nation building. With that po, I'm ending my discussion for today, and I think we will proceed with the question and answer po. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, ganun po. Thank you so much. Marami pong salamat, Sir
Thank
Hynes.
thank you very much to our speaker for today, Ms. Sarah Jency Pakarangan. Let's give her a big round of virtual applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Now, before we proceed with our open forum, we just would like to inform everyone that we are also streamed live over our Facebook page. So if you'd like to have, send your questions there, please do so, no? Sa mga ginikanan nga nagapamati sa aton subong sa ilang mga panimalay, pwede man kamo makasend ang inyong question diri sa aton sa chat box, or pwede man dito sa aton nga comment section sa live naton nga feed through ISAT University PIO page. Apart from that, we also would like to remind ang mga participants naton that we will be sending, in fact, basig impose na subong sa aton mga kaupdanan diri ang evaluation form. You have to answer the evaluation form, no? Na-send na subong sa chat box naton, and you have to submit the same so that you would be eligible to receive our certificate, no? Certificate that you have attended and participated in our webinar today, Parenting Adolescents in Times of Pandemic. Again, it is going to be in a Google form, so please submit the same as soon as we are done also with our webinar so that you can receive your certificate. As I was saying, we are now going to proceed with our open forum, and we are also assisted, ladies and gentlemen, by our PIDAS Director, Dr. Ras Allen B. Napod, who is now sharing his screen. I think we're now going to proceed with our first question, Sir Ras. Okay. All right. So our first question goes this way. As a parent, how can I recognize fear and stress in my child, and how do I deal with them properly? Okay. Ma'am Sarah?
Okay po. Can you hear me po?
Loud and clear po. Go ahead, please.
For the first question po, maganda po itong tanong na to kasi nakikita ko yung context niya na you care for your child, you care for your adolescent. Kasi gusto mong makita kung ano ba, may takot ba to, may stress ba siya brought about by COVID-19. Makikita po na ito ng parents in terms of behavior ng kanyang anak. May mga changes po sa behavior ng kanyang anak in terms po sa dati, siguro masayahin siya, ngayon hindi na. So paano po siya i-deal with them properly? Depende po sa relationship mo sa inyong anak. Kasi there are parents na sobrang close sa anak, so ibig sabihin, pwede na siyang right there and then kausapin ng kanyang anak. Pero po dun sa mga parents na hindi po masyadong close sa anak, kailangan po munang bigyan ng oras ang anak muna sa kanyang pinagdadaanan. Pero kapag napapansin nyo na po, halimbawa, this is another topic po in terms sa mental health ng mga bata. No? Ang core kasi nito is what is really going on upon sa aking anak. And mental health po is a big concern. At pwede pong maapektuhan ang mga anak dito. Pero as parents po, as much as possible, we listen and talk to them. Just as simple as that. We listen, we talk to them based on our observation po. And how do I deal with them properly? Gusto ko lang pong i-emphasize po na depende po sa relationship ninyo sa inyong mga anak. Kaya po maganda sana ngayong COVID-19 na mas maging close yung parents at ang kanyang mga anak na adolescents.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Sarah. I think for our second question, we have Sir Vincent. Sir Vincent, if you're with us, can you please turn on your video and unmute yourself, please?
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Ma'am, I have a question here that how to start a genuine dialogue, or who would initiate actually the genuine dialogue between the child and the parent, granting that the dialogue is unusual and less practiced at home?
Okay, sir. Okay, it's a good question also. Ang pinakamahirap po talaga ito start things. Mahirap talaga umpisa. Kasi we're not used to this. The family is not used to this. Yun po yung nakikita ko dito, no? Na hindi used yung pamilya na mag-usap. So, sino po ba mag-i-initiate ng dialogue? Depende po. Kung yung, halimbawa po, there are parents that are really close, ibig sabihin po, hindi siya open sa dialogue. Pero yung adolescent po ay open. Remember po, we have two kinds of system. We have the open and the closed system. So, ibig pong sabihin yan, kung sino po yung mas open, siya po mag-start ng dialogue sa pamilya. Pero, we need to respect also, pag hindi pa carry or hindi pa ready ang membro ng pamilya na mag-open. Hindi po, mas maganda po na hintayin, we initiate it, we initiate the dialogue, but at the same time, we wait when the person is ready for that particular dialogue. And we don't need to impose or command that person na we need to have a dialogue now, ganon. Kasi mas magkakaproblema po pag ganon.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you again, Sir Vincent and Ma'am Chara for the answer. Next question. Wala na pong masyadong time ang mga bata kasi madaming school works online. Healthy pa po ba ito sa mga bata? How can we help as parents po? Ma'am Chara.
Yan. So siguro gaano kadami po ba ang work requirements ng mga bata sa eskwelahan? Siguro tanungin po muna natin kung kailangan nating i-triangulate kung totoo nga ba na madaming work requirement ang mga estudyante ng ISAT-U. Kasi, di ba, parang kailangan po as a parent, you need to verify the information first. Kasi, you need to, kailangan kilala mo din yung teacher ng anak mo. Parang pwede mo lang ding tanungin yung ma'am, hindi naman sa nagsisinungaling yung anak mo, no? Pero you want to help the teacher, at the same time, you want to help your child also. So, magandang tanong, is it true that yung workload ng mga estudyante ay madami ba talaga? Kung madami po talaga, na beyond nasa kakayahan ng bata, definitely po, hindi po yun healthy. Kasi meron po tayong, may point na kaya lang natin gawin yung mga bagay-bagay. Kaya naniniwala naman po ako kasi under naman po tayo ng CHED, ang ISAT-U, all requirements naman po are ilang oras sila pwedeng gawin, ilang oras lang yung klase nila. So, pwede pong may mga prof lang po na mas maraming requirements siguro, hindi natin alam. Pero maganda po sa mga parents na na may time pa rin po. Halimbawa, pagkakain po ng morning, pwede pong magsabay-sabay, then you can talk as a family. Na hindi mo na, kung marami na po talaga siyang time for her academics or for his academics, yung mga certain time po na you gather as a family, for example, yung breakfast, you eat together as a family, that's your routine. Then you can talk there. You can sit down there, pag-usapan, initial, ano bang nangyayari sa inyong anak. And even dinner. Siguro naman wala nang klase ng dinner, hanggang alas 5 lang naman siguro yung mga klase natin. So, you set it up. Pwede naman pong hindi araw-araw na mag-dinner kayo together as a family. Pero pwede mag-set po ng time sa isang week na at this particular day and time, we need to eat together. Kasi it is also a research-based that those families who eat together are those families that functions well. Kasi doon po habang kumakain, nakakapagkwento po kung ano nangyayari sa bata, kung ano nangyayari sa kanya, even parents, doon nakakatawa, doon nakaka-relate, doon napapag-usapan yung mga bagay-bagay. So pag wala na po talagang time, during dinner time, during breakfast, ganon, pwede po yun. You can sit down together as a family. Thank you po.
Thank you very much. Next. This is like a reaction or a suggestion, Ma'am Sara. Maybe saying I love you should start with the parents. Kasi if that is usual to parents to say it to their children, then this will also be easy to children of expressing it. Sometimes our children needs to hear these words because sometimes they cannot easily feel the actions. Just sharing from Ma'am Grace. Thank you so much, Ma'am Grace.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Grace. Naniniwala po, okay po itong point ninyo. Kung natatandaan niyo po yung isang, sinabi ko po kanina on circular causality, na everyone is interrelated in the family. So pag yung parent po ay hindi niya pa kaya mag-say ng I love you, but the child is capable of saying I love you, then the child will say that to the parent, to her or his parents already. Kasi po interrelated sila. So kung mas kaya ng adolescent na magsabi ng I love you sa parent niya, he or she doesn't need to wait kung kailan ba mag-I love you sa kanya ang kanyang mga magulang. Kasi po, ang bawat miyembro ng pamilya ay interrelated. In the long run po, pwede pong ma-develop or ma-acquire ng parents ang magsabi din ng I love you. For one po ako, I have good example for that. My parents are not used to that also. But I really valued my parents. Nakita ko po ang value ng mga parents ko when I studied here in the university kasi I'm from Region 2 and the university is in Region 4. So ang parents ko, they're not used to saying I love you. And because they're not used to saying that particular word at ready na akong magsabi sa kanila ng I love you, I was the one who initiated it kasi nandun yung part sa akin na mas open na akong magsabi ng I love you sa parents ko. And in the long run, my parents are already saying these words which hindi naman sila used to it. So pwede pong parents ang mag-umpisa, pwede rin pong mga adolescents po. Pero mas maganda po sana kung mag-umpisa sa mga magulang kasi part po talaga yan ng pagmamagulang ang pagsasabi ng mahal mo ang iyong mga anak. Minsan po kasi 'di ba parang ang mga adolescents or even children, ang gusto lang talaga nilang hintayin ay sabihin ng mga magulang nila na mahal sila. So dahil may mga parents po tayo ngayon dito, so it is a challenge for us na mag-open tayo sa mga anak. Sabihin natin sa kanila, wala po itong bayad na mahal po natin sila. Yan lang po.
Thank you, Ma'am Sarah. I think we also have another question from Isa Tiburotoc Nuevo Campus. Good morning. As a working mother, we find it hard dividing our time with our work and the learning facilitator of our children, and as a learning facilitator of our children, doing their modules. Can you give us some tips regarding this, Ma'am Sarah?
As a working mom po, may tinatawag po tayong technical term na double burden. Ang double burden po ay, yun pong, ang nanay po ba yan, sir? Or tatay po yan? Working mom, tama ba?
Mother, siguro ba?
Working mom, double burden po ang tawag natin dyan. Ibig pong sabihin nito, ang mother ay nagwo-work po para po kumita, para sa pamilya. At the same time, kailangan niya pong pangalagaan ang kanyang mga anak. Kailangan pong gumawa siya ng mga household chores. It is expected of her to function like this. At lalo na ngayon, wala pa pong term na ito. Siguro, gusto ko siyang i-introduce. Double burden kasi yon, so triple burden na ngayon. Ano? Kasi lahat na ng anak mo nasa bahay, ikaw din nasa bahay. So kailangan po talaga yung mentality mo ay ang tawag clear sa'yo bakit mo ginagawa yon, or clear sa'yo ang mga bagay-bagay, paano namin kayo matutulungan ngayon ay siguro pag sobrang stress na po kayo, you sit down, don't say anything. Meron po tayong tinatawag sa sa aming department, meron po tayong mga breathing exercise. Tapos minsan po kasi pag stress na tayo, 'di ba? Parang we tend to shout, ganon. We tend to say things that are really hurtful sa ating mga anak. Pero ang gusto lang talaga natin sabihin ay pagod na ako, ganon. Pagod na ako. So pwede po, pwedeng iset aside mo muna po ang iyong sarili. Pwede pong you sit down, tapos you do the breathing exercise, tapos remind yourself, why are you doing it? Tapos po, pag nakikita nyo naman po na ang ibang miyembro ng pamilya po ay pwede kayong tulungan. Halimbawa po sa household chores, may capacity na po or capability na po yung anak nyo. Halimbawa, maglinis, magluto, maglaba. Pwede po silang sabihan or magpatulong po kasi hindi naman po talaga natin kaya lahat ng bagay. Kasi isa rin po sa ina-expect sa pamilya ay everyone has functions to perform. Bawat miyembro ng pamilya po ay may function na kailangang i-perform. Ngayon po, ano pong nangyayari kung yung ine-expect sa yung function ay hindi mo siya na-perform? Meron pong magkikerry ng function na yon. Meron pong sasalo ng function na yon. Pwede pong sa umpisa, kaya niya pa, pero pag sobrang dami na po ng kanyang ginagawa on top of the functions that he has or she has to render, nagkakaroon po ng dysfunctional family na tinatawag. Kasi po yung expected na function dapat ng isang miyembro ng pamilya ay hindi niya nagagampanan. At ayaw po nating mangyari yon. Ang gusto nating mangyari, kaya we're talking about parenting, adolescents, we need to function, na kailangan every member of the family, kailangan alam nila yung mga roles nila. And I want to point out that these roles should not be silent roles. Kailangan pag-usapan po. Again, over dinner. Ayun. Pwede pong ganon.
Thank you. Thank you again, Ma'am Sarah. Very quickly, sa mga ginikanan na gusto magpadala sa ilang mga pamangkot sa aton speaker for today, please do so. Pwede sa chat box or pwede man sa atong comment section sa atong ISAT University PIO page. We have this question. I think we could accommodate like 2 more questions. We have this one. Good morning, ma'am. With the school workload of the children now coupled with the hindrances and exposures outside because of the COVID scare, may I just know if your field had already anticipated some repercussions with regard to health, mental status of the young and the parents today, if ever the situation worsens? Do you believe that pushing education now is a healthy endeavor considering the new normal time? Thank you, Ma'am Sarah.
Okay po, sige. For the first question po, our department is one of the mandates of our department is on psychosocial support. Kung nakita niyo po sa aking mga experiences, ganon, we really give psychosocial support prior to pandemic and especially now during pandemic. And we have sa aming department experts on giving psychosocial support sa ating mga adolescents. So, ang Universidad po ng Pilipinas ay meron na pong mga pag-aaral kung ilang porsyento ba kaya ng mga estudyante ang pwedeng maka-experience itong mga ito. Ang pinaka-factor po talaga ay when the basic needs are not being provided. So, psychosocial support is really it should be given to the students and given din also po sa dami po ng work. Sabi nga po, paulit-ulit po ito, dami ng workload ng mga estudyante. So, kailangan po, if the workload is really big, the students has to learn to chunk it into bits. Hindi siya one time, big time. Sa atin din, mga faculty, pag sobra pong dami, we need to chunk it. Bit by bit. Ganon. Do you believe, second question, sir, do you believe that pushing education now is a healthy endeavor? It's a healthier endeavor po to pursue. Kaysa po, parang nasa bahay lang ang mga estudyante at hindi po natin alam kung anong kanilang mga ginagawa. It would be harder for the parents pag wala pong klase ngayon. Kasi saan mag-focus ang inyong mga anak? Saan nila i-google ang mga time nila? Remember po, ang kanilang time ay rapid growth. Gusto nilang ilabas itong mga enerhiya na meron sila. So pag nasa bahay lang sila at wala po silang household chores lang everyday ganon, it would really be different. Mas marami pong yun. Mas malaki po ang epekto noon.
Hello. We also have from Ma'am Jessica, Ma'am Sarah. Will the teachers answer online questions or queries from parents? I just don't know if it is really meant for... Yes, Ma'am Sarah.
Yes po. Ano po yun? Yes, sir.
I think this can also be addressed by our faculty members who are listening, But what's your take on this, Ma'am Sarah? Will the teacher, are they supposed to answer also online questions, queries from parents?
We want our faculty also to be mentally health, parang yung mental health concern din, ng mga parents, ng mga faculty. Kasi remember, they're not just faculty. They're also a member of the family. They're also parents. They're also, mga kapatid din itong mga ito. May mga kapatid din itong mga ito. May mga pamilya din po itong mga ito. Siguro magandang ilagay sa meron po tayong, anong tawag, meron, as a professor, we have, sa UP po kasi meron po kaming schedule on, ito yung consultation schedules ko. These are my consultation schedules and you can ask questions to me during this time para hindi po hanggang madaling araw ay nagsasagot po tayo ng mga tanong coming from our students and our parents para po sa ating mental health, para po sa mental health ng mga estudyante natin at kalusugan din ng ating mga magulang. So we need to we need to give kung anong time po tayo available. Kasi remember po, hindi lang po ito yung concern po natin. So maganda pong ibigay, bang consultation ko, teacher consultation, maganda pong 8 to parang sa isang araw po, sa Monday. Hindi naman buong araw mo, ang gagawin mo lang, lang, just to answer their queries. So maganda po siguro na you set your teacher consultation. This will be the time na I will be open to your questions. Well, we can answer the queries of the parents. We can do that. But we need to set a time. Kailan lang sila pwede magtanong din?
Thank you so much, Ma'am Sarah. I think just to join her to that question, I think the university, we also have consultation hours, no, assigned to our teachers. So for those asking, sa mga parents, sa mga ginikanan, we have time where we could actually cater the questions coming from students and from our parents at the same time. So I think that's about it for our open forum. Let's give a virtual applause to our resource speaker, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Sarah Jency Pakarangan from Department of Human and Family Development, UP Los Baños. Thank you so much, Ma'am Sarah. And with that, we are going to proceed with our virtual awarding of certificate to our resource person. Our recitation reads, Iloilo Science and Technology University, La Paz, Iloilo City awards a certificate of appreciation to Ma'am Sarah Jency Pakarangan for the invaluable service to the university as resource person on the topic parenting adolescents in times of COVID-19 pandemic during the Gender and Development webinar series, Empowering Oneself Toward Embracing the New Normal, held via Zoom October 6, 2020. Signed, Dr. Raul F. Muyong, University President, SUC President 3. Again, congratulations to our resource speaker, Ma'am Sarah Jency Pakarangan. Ma'am, thank you. A virtual applause again to our speaker.
So much, sir. Thank you so much, ISAT University. Thank you po. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you. At this point, we would like to request Dr. Gabriel M. Celeste Jr., our Vice President for Administration and Finance, for the closing message. Sir?
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Sir Hines. To our parents present this morning, thank you for participating to our webinar conducted this morning. So, of course, we would like to express our gratitude and appreciations to Ma'am Sarah for spending time with us this morning. So, the university is very concerned to the welfare of our stakeholders. So, that's why we would like also to acknowledge the effort by the university, of course, with the leadership of our university president, Dr. Raul F. Muyong, and also through the office of our Gender and Development office with the leadership of our God-focal person, Professor Ma'am Emilia De La Cruz. So we have already conducted some activities with respect, as I've mentioned, to the different stakeholders. We have done with our faculty. We have done also seminars and webinars like this with our non-teaching personnel and with our students. At this time, I am glad that we have pursued this activity because I myself is also a parent. And we have to learn a lot of things dealing with the situations that we have right now. So it is very important that we have to know really our situations, and we have to adjust different situations that we're facing right now. So thank you very much, Ma'am Sarah, for spending your time with us. And of course, we're happy, and we started with the seminar through Ma'am Cristobal giving us some insights on the biblical principles. So I would like also to end this seminar with us this morning, taking some verses from the Bible, which is very important to us as parents. No? So this is found actually in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1, which was spoken by Moses to the people, which says that, love the Lord your God and keep his requirements, his decrees, his laws, and his commands always. And as well as in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 19, which says that teach them to your children, thinking about them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. So mas nabigid if you're going to have it in sa Hiligay noon balada. Itudlo ini sa inyo mga kabataan. Hambalin ninyo ini kun kamo ara sa inyong balay, kag kun nagalakat kamo, kun naghigda kamo, kag kun mga nagabangon kamo. So it speaks about the commands of the Lord, which very important to us, that one of the commands of the Lord is that we have to take care of our family, we have to take care of our children. So with that verse from chapter 11, verse 19 of Deuteronomy, it speaks about communications, open communications within the family. So I think the most important thing, as mentioned by our speaker, Ma'am Sarah, is we have to talk with our children. We have to talk our members of the family in every situations that we are facing. So very important, good, no, open communications. And Ma'am Sarah also mentions about discipline. No? So discipline is very necessary, no, sa aton nga family. Even discipline in time, discipline in whatever activity nga ginaobra naton. Because it is also a command, and it is also found with some biblical principles which says that sometimes ang disiplina gina-take nato negative, but it's good that Ma'am has emphasized that we have to take discipline on a positive note, on a positive perspective, which is actually siningani isang Bible sa Hebrews 12 verse 11, it says that for the moment all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained on it. So we have to train, we have to yung mga kabataan, yung mga anak natin, we have to impose some disciplines in order that they will be guided on a proper perspective. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for getting involved, for participating in this activity, to the whole ISAT community, most of us, our parents, to mga faculty, staff. So it is really good that we have this particular activity this morning. So once again, congratulations to the Gender and Development Office, and of course, thank you everyone for joining our activity this morning.
Thank you again, Dr. Gabriel M. Celestro Jr., our Vice President for Administration and Finance. Now, before we proceed to our photo opportunity, may I just remind everyone, our guests and participants for today, especially the parents, before our photo op, please do click the link sent to you, our evaluation form in our chat box, so that you would be eligible to receive our certificate, no, from the GAD office, from the Gender and Development Office. Now, for our quick photo op, this is our instruction. Can you please turn on your video? We are going to disable first our chat box, Sir Gray, so that there would be no interference. To our participants, sa tahan ng mga ginikanan nga nagapamati sa aton subong and joining us through Zoom, can you please turn on your video so that we could have our quick photo opportunity? How many panels do we have? 7. We have 7 panels, and we are going to take our cue from our co-host, Sir Gray. Sir Gray, just let us know if you're okay. Okay, we're going to first going to have our panel 1. Thank you. For panel 2, can you please give us your smile? Panel 2. Thank you. Again, to our participants from panel 3, please give us a smile as well. Get ready, panel 4. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Next, we proceed to panel 5. 1, 2, 3. We proceed now to panel 6. 1, 2, 3. And our last panel, panel number 7. 1, 2, 3. All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our the fourth installment of our webinar series on empowering oneself toward embracing the new normal, which is, of course, brought to us by the Gender and Development Office. So again, kudos to our God focal person. Today's activity, today's talk is all about parenting adolescents in times of pandemic. So as we move on with our activity for today, please don't forget the lessons that we've got from this particular talk. Do say I love to your parents, and at the same time for the parents to say I love you to their kids. Eat together, ladies and gentlemen. Again, from all of us here at ISAT University, thank you for joining us, and see you again next time.